Did you bother to investigate where the money that you facilitated their fraud for, where it went? Do you know where it went, what it was used for, the fraudulent money? I do, because we just heard testimony about it yesterday.
Because we were key players in the
hundreds of millions of dollars to terrorist groups, to transnational criminal organizations, to the drug trade, to drug trafficking, to child trafficking. And you took $10,000
That's a lie.
And helped them do it. You know, the other thing is
$9 billion. That is the number Senator Josh Hawley put on the record in that hearing room. $9 billion in historic fraud out of the state of Minnesota. And when he asked the Attorney General of Minnesota whether he knew where that money went, what it was actually used for after it left the state, the answer was not an investigation. It was not a prosecution. It was not accountability. It was a campaign contribution. But before we get to the money trail, we need to understand what was caught on tape. Because the center of this entire exchange is not a theory. It is not an allegation based on anonymous sources. It is a 54-minute recorded meeting that is publicly available right now. Anyone can go and listen to it. Every sentence, every word. Every pledge made by the chief law enforcement officer of the state of Minnesota to the people who were about to be indicted for one of the largest fraud schemes in American history. And what that tape shows is exactly what Hawley laid out in that hearing room. Exactly what Ellison could not explain away. And exactly why the question of where that $9 billion went is now sitting permanently in the congressional record without a clean answer.
The people who ran the Feeding Our Futures program came to you in your official office in the state capitol December 11th, 2021, and asked for your help in getting investigators off their backs. They complained to you for upwards of an hour about state investigators going after them, and they begged you to help them, and you agreed to it, amazingly. And we know you did.
That's not
because
true.
It's all caught on tape.
Yeah,
Every single sentence is caught on tape. Here's what you said. Let's take a look. You said, it's not a question. You said to them, send me the names of all these folks who are investigating them. You said to them, send me their names. And I'll take that list, and I'll call the person over at Education who was investigating them and say, what's going on? Why am I getting these complaints? Then he went on to say, I already have my team working on this. What day should we get together to discuss it again? You made pledge after pledge to them. You said, we've got to make sure this guy who's investigating them stops it. You said, you have my attention. I'm concerned about this. You said, let's go fight these people, meaning the people who were investigating the fraud. Why'd you do it? Why'd you help them?
Are you going to let me answer?
Please, we're all ears.
So first of all, you're cherry picking quotes out of there.
Why did you help them?
I thought you were going to let me answer.
Why did you help them?
Are you going to let me answer?
Why did you help them?
You let me answer and I'll answer you.
Tell the truth and I'll let you answer.
I will tell the truth.
Good.
Let's do that.
That'd be a nice change. Why'd you help them?
Now see, Mr. Chairman, I didn't come here to be insulted. I came here voluntarily.
You came here for the truth. Let's have it. Why did you help them? The quotes are here. They're in black and white, and every member of this audience can listen to the recording. It's 54 minutes long. It's all in public. You can Google it right now and listen to it.
And listen to it all.
Why'd you help them?
First of all, I didn't help them.
You did help them.
No, I did not. I certainly didn't.
You're saying you didn't do anything for them. You didn't.
Well, wait a minute.
I already have my team working on this again. That's not you?
I have my team assisted with the information that led to the prosecution and conviction of these people.
No, you didn't. You didn't lift a finger to prosecute them.
Let us be precise about what that tape contains. On December 11th, 2021, the people running the Feeding Our Future program, a program that prosecutors would later charge with facilitating $250 million in fraud, walked into the official office of the Parentagram, Minnesota Attorney General. They sat down for 54 minutes, and they complained about state investigators going after them. They did not come to report fraud. They did not come to cooperate with investigators. They came to ask the chief law enforcement officer of their state to make the investigation stop. And according to the tape Hawley played in that hearing room, Ellison obliged. Send me the names of all these folks who are investigating them. I already have my team working on this. We have to make sure this guy who is investigating them stops it. Let's go fight these people. Those are not the words of a law enforcement officer doing his job. Those are the words of someone who has chosen a side. And the side he chose was not the side of the investigators trying to stop a $9 billion fraud. It was not the side of the whistleblowers who had been bringing concerns to his office since 2018 and 2019 and being ignored. It was the side of the people who were about to be indicted. Ellison's defense was that he did not help them, that his team assisted with information that led to the prosecution and conviction of these people. But Hawley had the tape. And the tape does not describe a law enforcement officer gathering information for a prosecution. It describes a law enforcement officer pledging to intervene on behalf of people who are under investigation.
You did nothing for years. The only action you took is, once all these fraudsters came to your office and asked you to get involved and offered you money, then you got involved. Then you took the money, and then you got involved.
They did not come to my office. You're completely wrong about that.
You met with them for 54 minutes, and you took $10,000, and they also gave your family money. They gave your family thousands of dollars in campaign contributions in addition to what they gave you.
This is a false statement.
Let's put
this is completely untrue.
The New York Post.
Yeah, we know the New York Post.
Minnesota Keith Ellison, AG, accepted campaign donations from individuals linked to the $250 million COVID fraud scheme after they were in your office. The donations came on December 20th.
Sir,
you met with them on December the 11th, and on January 20th, the FBI knocked over their headquarters.
No.
That's the sequence of events here.
No, it's not.
You've been right at the center of this fraud thing from the beginning, and you've enabled it. And, sir, you should resign.
And, sir, you should resign. I was thinking the same thing about you.
You should resign.
I was thinking the exact same thing about you.
I'm sure after encountering this truth, you are, because it hurts to have accountability, doesn't it?
Because after this...
The sequence of dates is the evidence. December 11th, 2021, the fraudsters walk into Ellison's official office and spend 54 minutes asking him to stop the investigation. They talk about money throughout the meeting. They say they will put their dollars in the right place. They say they will support candidates who fight to protect their interests. Ellison responds, "That is right. Money is freedom. Give me the specifics." December 20th, 2021, 9 days later, Ellison receives $10,000 in campaign contributions from the same individuals. January 20th, 2022, the FBI raids their headquarters. That is the timeline. 3 dates, 39 days from the meeting in the Attorney General's official office to the FBI raid. And sitting in the middle of those 39 days is a $10,000 campaign contribution. Ellison called it a false statement, but Hawley cited the New York Post report by name. The dates are in the public record. And the money trail is now in the congressional record. But here is where this hearing goes from a political corruption story to something far more serious.
Oh, no, this is all on the record, sir. Did you bother to investigate where the money that you facilitated their fraud for, where it went? Do you know where it went, what it was used for, the fraudulent money? I do, because we just heard testimony about it yesterday.
Because we were key players in the
hundreds of millions of dollars to terrorist groups, to transnational criminal organizations, to the drug trade, to drug trafficking, to child trafficking. And you took $10,000.
That's a lie.
And helped them do it.
$9 billion did not disappear into thin air. Hawley told that hearing room where it went. Not as a theory, not as speculation. Based on testimony heard the previous day in the same committee, the funds went to terrorist groups, to transnational criminal organizations, to the drug trade, to drug trafficking, to child trafficking. That is where the money from the Feeding Our Future fraud program ended up, a program operating out of Minnesota. A program whose leaders walked into the state attorney general's office in December 2021 and asked him to stop the investigators going after them. A program whose leaders gave that same attorney general $10,000 9 days later. Ellison called it a lie. But the whistleblowers who came to his office in 2018 and 2019 with fraud allegations were not lying. The Minnesota Star Tribune, which reported that the Partners in Nutrition brought its concerns to the Attorney General's office in 2018 and 2019, was not lying. The FBI agents who raided the headquarters in January 2022 were not lying, and the prosecutors who secured convictions were not lying. What Hawley laid out in that hearing room is a direct line. From a 54-minute meeting caught entirely on tape to a $10,000 campaign contribution 9 days later, to $9 billion in fraud, to terrorist groups, to drug trafficking, to child trafficking. And the chief law enforcement officer of the state of Minnesota sat in that hearing room and called it a lie. Hawley told him he should resign. He told him he should be indicted. He told him he should be ashamed. And the tape, all 54 minutes of it, publicly available right now, is still out there for every American to hear.